Hey there, eager beavers! We're back by popular demand and raring to go. So, thanks for pressing play and tuning in to episode 2 of our UnifyHub podcast series, Movies. So, you might be listening to this as you're working from home, which means for the next 20 minutes you'll be immersed in some lively English chit chat rather than thinking about tackling that massive backlog. And we've got another very special guest today. She's Unify Hub's infamous cat lover and pet enthusiast. And what I absolutely love about this lady is that she is just so easy to get along with. In fact, she'll charm the pants off you with her witty banter. Also, she really is the perfect guest for today's topic because she's a genuine movie buff all the way from Cape Town, South Africa, unfiltered and armed with irony. We have, drumroll please, Leandri. Right, Leandri, tell us about yourself in a nutshell. Hello.
Hi. I am Leandri. Hello. I've been working at UnifyHub for 2 years now, I believe, and what I love about my job is that I get to do stuff like this. But also
so cool, right?
Right. But also just the students. Listen, I love every single one of them. I just love getting to know new people in different fields, things like that.
Brilliant, yeah. I like that side of it as well, Leandri, because just people, they're so interesting, aren't they? The students are so varied, so interesting, really switched on. Oh, I just love them. I feel like I've got more connection with my students than I do with people in real life.
Honestly,
Actually,
same.
don't have friends outside of class,
Yeah.
Okay, tell us something personal. What's your hometown famous for? What's your favourite foreign city?
What is Cape Town famous for? That's an easy question. Probably for its nature, actually. Table Mountain, obviously, recently been named one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's absolutely gorgeous. Except for that, a lot of people, when they think of Cape Town, they think of kind of adventure sports, shark cage diving, safaris, things like that.
Snorkeling, yeah, that's what comes to mind at first, to be honest.
For me as
well. And what about a foreign city? Which foreign city really stood out for you?
I actually think my favorite foreign city that I visited was Saint Petersburg. I've been there twice. And both times...
You lived in Russia. You lived in Moscow, I think.
Yes, in Moscow region for 6 years. And then, I visited St. Petersburg twice. And it is such an awe-inspiring city, honestly. If you haven't visited it, please do. The architecture is gorgeous. The people are lovely. So, I think that's probably the city that had the biggest kind of influence on me, probably.
Leandri, that is such a good travel tip, and also inspiring massive jealousy from me, because I'm like this. I don't know if there's a word for it. There must be, but somebody who is obsessed with all things Russian, and that is me. People, culture, history.
No,
a Russophile, exactly. We've got Anglophiles. A Russophile, yes, gotta be. That's me. So very jealous that you've been to St. Pete's. Okay, let's talk about interests. So, give us the lowdown. How many pets do you actually own? Be honest. Apart from the mosquitoes.
Oh, it's winter here. We don't have mosquitoes. I have, my sister and I, have 8 cats, 3 dogs, 4 rats, and about 12 fish. I haven't counted them in a while.
I haven't counted them in a while. Brilliant. What are you going to do with your Saturday afternoon? I'm going to just sit and count my fish because there are so many.
Yeah, so many.
Okay, be honest, and this goes no further than this podcast room. Who's your favourite furry friend and why?
Okay,
I won't tell them.
Before I answer this question, let me see who can hear me. Okay, we're good. Honestly, I mean, I love all my animals, but I think my favorite is probably Dusty. She's a very fluffy black and white cat, and I think she's my favorite because I've had her since day one. Her mom is still here as well, but her mom had a bit of troubles during pregnancy and with feeding her. So for the first like 2 or 3 weeks of Dusty's life, I woke up every 2 hours during the night to bottle feed her. So something like that is going to leave, a
bond.
lasting impression.
Yeah, it's definitely a bond. And Leandri, they really are like family members. It's like I can't even use like that to talk about my dog or it.
No.
It's a her. She's
Yeah,
Rosie
right?
the dog. This is my family. My
Rosie
family.
is such a cute name.
I know, really. It was my dream, Leandri, to follow in your footsteps and get animals. I've started with a dog. I am
Okay.
getting a couple of hares next week. I had a chicken as well, and I'm getting a goat, and definitely a couple of cats. So we'll be like
Oh wow, you're going full crazy cat lady.
really, really like farmyard nutcase, really.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's go on to general movie questions now. So, some very general ones, and then we've got a bit of a quirky, weird round. So, what's your favourite film genre, and why? And which genre is not your cup of tea?
So my favorite film genres, I would probably say, are sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. I've been really into horror recently.
Nice.
But I specifically like a subgenre called cosmic horror, which is that kind of Lovecraftian unknown kind of horror, which is very often found in sci-fi horror. So those two kind of match together, and I think I like it because of, honestly, sometimes just the philosophical questions it poses about what we know, what we don't know, what we would do in these kind of situations.
Yes.
And I'm honestly not I hate romance.
I
hate romance
knew it.
films.
I knew you were going to be so like anti-chick flick. I knew it.
I hate chick. That's a lie. There are 2 romance films that I like.
The Notebook.
Only 2.
The Notebook.
Oh gosh, no. There's a film called Benny and June.
Okay.
Which stars a very young Johnny Depp, which is about this guy and this girl who both have some kind of learning disabilities who end up falling in love. It is the cutest
June
movie.
and... Did you say?
Benny and June.
Benny and June. You had me at Johnny Depp. Honestly.
Yeah, no,
You had me at
honestly,
Johnny.
he's gorgeous in that film. And the other one is, the only other romance I like is 10 Things I Hate About You, which is obviously based on the Shakespearean play, but also just because it was Heath Ledger and I was a teenager. Okay?
Yes, Heath Ledger. He was the icon at the time, wasn't he?
He definitely was.
I really want to say you might be the coolest person ever, because who in the world was going to say on today's podcast that their favourite subgenre is cosmic horror? Leandri, you are the individual.
Just
you.
It's just you.
Okay, let me ask you next one. Let me have a look. So, which directors do you rate really highly and why?
I probably, some of my favorite directors. I've always been a massive fan of David Cronenberg's work.
Okay.
Who's especially well known for, in the late 70s, 80s, he kind of fathered the body horror genre. But he's also in more recent years done some very very kind of interesting films like A History of Violence and Eastern Promises, which are both, I think both star Viggo Mortensen, which are absolutely beautiful.
Is he the same, sorry to pop in, Leandri, is he the same kind of directing era as Hitchcock?
No, later.
Later, okay, so Hitchcock was
Later.
before, okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
teacher. Okay.
If you're thinking Cronenberg, think kind of mid to late 80s, actually.
Okay.
Was probably his golden era.
Okay.
I'm a very, very big fan of Christopher Nolan as well, although I really wish he could fix his sound mixing. And probably my favorite director at the moment, who I'm really, really keeping an eye on, is Denis Villeneuve. Who
Wow.
directed both of the Dune films. He did a film called Arrival, which, if you're a teacher or a linguist of any kind, you have to watch it. It is glorious.
Okay. So
Yeah, those are
Arrival.
probably Arrival. Yeah,
I'm just Googling it.
It's about an alien species that kind of not invades but arrives on Earth, and the story actually focuses on a linguist who has to try and decipher their language to communicate with them.
Yeah, I think I may have seen it.
It's really good.
Okay, so
Probably
Arrival is one. What about, are there any actors that get on your nerves? You know, they just make you go, I'm just going to stay away from that movie at all costs.
Yeah, there definitely is. Nicole Kidman
Yes, I get that.
and Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's funny how they were together as well, isn't it? Like, did they just, like, you know, birds of a feather flock together, as we say? It's like,
I guess so, but at some point she realized how crazy he was and then kind of left.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
like,
have a
go on.
Sorry, yeah, I don't really have a reason to dislike Nicole Kidman. I just don't like her face.
Yeah, it's irrational, isn't it? And I feel like that about Jason Statham. So, you know, it's like,
Fair.
if I just picture his face, I feel annoyed. My blood starts to boil, and I feel like I want to remove my picture of Donald Trump from my dartboard and put Jason Statham's picture up there. And it's illogical. I just do something else apart from Plastic Action Man, please. And
Well, he can't.
No.
Because
No.
that's what he is. And listen, he's good at being Plastic Action Man, but, you know...
He actually typecast, didn't he? Like, you could not get any more typecast than that, Jason Statham. So, we are
I
putting...
have another one.
Go on, please.
Steven Seagal.
Oh, Steven Seagal.
'Cause-
Yeah.
Because he's kind of in that same
Yes.
vein for me as Jason
Yes.
Statham, except apparently he's really a terrible person.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true about Steven Seagal, but I heard, I'm going to look it up, just fact checking, that he was the only Westerner allowed to open a dojo in Japan. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to look it up, but there's some Japanese have some kind of love-hate relationship with American culture, don't they? They love it and they hate it at the same time. Okay, so we're putting Steven Seagal, Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise, and Jason Statham into a big box
Yes.
and throwing it to the bottom of the ocean. Okay, this is a really
Or-
good question. Go on, Leandri, pop
A
in.
better idea, we print all of their faces on plates and smash them.
I think that sounds awesome. My therapist
There we
would.
go.
My therapist would agree. Really.
Mine as well.
Okay, who is the best villain of all time? I know it's hard, but you've got to choose one.
I've been thinking about this for a while, and I mean, like you said, it's such a hard question to answer because there's so many factors that you have to take into account. But I think I have my answer, and I think it's the Joker. From
Brilliant choice.
the-
Which Joker?
I
Heath
don't
Ledger.
think I could. I mean, Heath Ledger's Joker was, absolutely a cut above the rest. But I actually like the fact that from the Tim Burton to the Christopher Nolan to I can't remember who did the latest one or the solo films. All of them kind of explore different aspects of this character, and
Yes.
he's just the fact that you could see him as this purely crazy person to
Wow.
somebody with these massive motivations. I just think he's actually one of the most complex villains
I agree.
of kind of modern cinema.
Wow. Yeah, good answer, Leandri. I did not see that coming, but I have to say, fully on board with you, because Joaquin Phoenix, he added something else. Like you said, each time a new dimension has been added to the Joker, and I just think, what a villain. Joaquin Phoenix, I was watching an interview with him and he was describing how he prepared for the role of Joker. You know, he lost so much weight. He was basically,
Yes.
what's the word? Emaciated.
Emaciated.
I was going to say emancipated. I'm an English
Oh, I
teacher.
do the same thing all the time.
So he was emaciated and he was so skinny. And when they asked him, how did you lose all the weight, Joaquin, to play Joker? And he said, basically, I did not socialise for a year. Every time someone asked me to go out or to meet up, I just said no, because everything always involves food and drink. Everywhere you go with friends, or if you have friends over, you're always eating. And he said, I just couldn't eat or drink for a year, and he really lost all this weight. It was incredible, scary, actually, quite scary.
But that's not the only time that's happened. Because I mean, Heath Ledger's death is unfortunately, quite directly linked to his role as the Joker as well.
Yes.
So all of the actors who have played the Joker have completely thrown themselves into this role, and I think the fact that this character transforms these actors just speaks about what an influence he has. So absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have to, because they method act so deeply. Some of them probably need therapy sessions after they've played that role. It's quite common for that to happen, isn't it, when you've got method actors like that. For me, I really liked I don't know if you've seen this movie, No Country for Old Men. So I really like the villain in that. You've got to see it. It's so good. And I really like the villain in there. Javier Bardem is one of my all-time favourite actors. And Josh Brolin.
Oh, absolutely.
Brilliant. And that psychologists actually said that in No Country for Old Men, Javier Bardem was closest to a psychopath in any film they had seen. He was the closest realistic psychopath in any movie. It was really interesting. So, yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
Oh, no. Please do not get me started on No Country for Old Men, because I have PTSD because of that movie. The short version is, for a long time, I made a point of watching Best Film, Best Actor, Best Actress films for the Oscars every year.
Okay.
And then came the year that No Country for Old Men won for Best Film, and I just didn't understand the movie. Because I thought it had to have some incredibly deep meaning, because it's a Best Oscar-winning film. I've seen that film 3 times, and I want to watch it again now that I'm older. But I probably watched that film about 4 times, just going, I don't understand. What am I missing? Until one day I just realized it really is just a story about what it's about. There is nothing.
He's just a psychopath
there.
who kills, and that's it. Yeah, I get that. When I finished the movie, I did kind of think, what was the twist? Or there was something I missed.
Yeah. What did I miss?
It is about that. It is like Javier Bardem with his acting carries the whole thing across.
Oh
really.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that man was scary in that film.
Yeah, very, very scary.
Honestly. So yeah.
Okay, Leandri, I'm going to skip to the next round, which is quirky questions. We've got a couple of minutes left still. So I've chosen the 3 quirkiest questions I could find about movies, and we're going to attempt together to answer them. So, number 1, why is Shrek the most culturally significant movie ever?
There's actually quite a few reasons.
Agree?
I mean, the fact that, there are, because of the internet and all of the Shrek memes, it's obviously kind of staying in the public consciousness. But I think, honestly, the fact that this was one of the first, if not the first film that kind of subverted your expectations of what a fairy tale should be, is what drew and is still drawing so many people to it. It's, it's a classic fairy tale, except it really, really, really isn't.
Exactly.
And I think, the fact that it's kind of, because of it subverts, it changes those expectations. probably the main reason. Also, the soundtrack is amazing.
Yes, agreed. And I think it's a genius movie all round, really. And
Oh yeah.
there's also the this underlying, like, it kind of addresses very subtly this idea of the English perception of the Scottish. And there are so many kind of underlying things there. I just think, and all of the fairy tales, that whole fairy tale lore is just really culturally significant, isn't it? We grew up, with fairy tales. Okay,
Yeah,
Leandri,
exactly.
what do you think John Wick does after he retires from assassinating?
Retires to the countryside and opens an animal shelter. Next question.
Oh, okay. Last question. How does Superman shave? Because if bullets can bounce off his chest, doesn't he also have invisible facial hair? Sorry, invincible, not invisible.
Again, very obvious answer with a razor blade made of kryptonite.
A razor blade made of kryptonite. You know what? Okay, let's go with that. We'll go with that. Leandri, you have been an absolute gem. Thank you so much. You taught me a lot about movies, and we've got a few great recommendations for us listening students as well. Have a great day.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Leandri.
much.
Take
Lovely
care.
speaking
Love
to
you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.